Hey, folks, it's Cyclone. How are you doing? I'm back here with. I'm gonna do this. It's time. I'm gonna make my own Hunter tier list, and yeah, basic combat ability is what we're talking about today. Combat effectiveness. Top 10 with honorable mentions. Now, I'm going to do my very best to explain why my choices are the way they are. And I also want to explain that the characters in the top 10 uh, are roughly ordered, but there are cases to be made where you might think one's better than the other or maybe a position or two higher. But I tried in my mind to put them accurately where I felt they should live. And a lot of it's about portrayal and Togashi's writing. You know, some people when they do tier lists, they don't talk about the writing decisions that Togashi makes. I'm gonna try to do that a little bit more in this video, and why my choices are the way they are. Let's get started, and we'll just take it from there. And of course, feel free to rip this list to shreds if you disagree. Tier lists are opinion based, and I can only go by portrayal and what the series has shown us. And in some of these cases, we've barely seen anything, like with the Zodiac, which are going to be getting an honorable mention from me. The Zodiac are portrayed as absolute monsters. However, because of Leorio's inclusion as a Zodiac, it might be more that they are politically competent, or at the very least socially competent, and masters of their craft, and influential individuals. It might not mean necessarily that they're going to go and punch somebody in the face and kill them. And this is a combat-oriented list. Therefore, I cannot place the Zodiac, generally speaking, in the top 10 list with any sort of dedicated, like, oh, it has to be. Like, they're the Zodiac. But I would gauge that under Netaro's leadership, he picked very talented Nen users. I don't think that's really up for question. That's the portrayal that I have. So I think all of these individuals have a Nen specialty at the very least. Pariston, everyone's waiting to see what Pariston does. Bodabai. Cheadle. Cheadle could have some busted ass healing ability that makes Karapika's healing look like a joke. Maybe Cheadle can like regrow herself from particles like Poof. We don't know, but the point is, we need to see more feats before I could ever start listing these characters. Let's go on to a fan favorite, Biscuit. Biscuit, there's no chance that I couldn't give an honorable mention to Biscuit here. Nen Master, going to kill his teacher, that alone should already put her in a certain realm. But what she did to the bomber, the guy's name I never remember and I don't care. She one-shot him. And, that was just a punch. If she had additional Nen technique in that punch or additional effort put into it, she might have just literally blown him into pieces with that punch. The point is, Biscuit is just depicted as an absolute Nen master. And so I can't not put her up here. It just is what it is. Now, actually, you could also... All right, one thing I got to... Before I go forward, I don't have the spider on here. I know. People are like, oh my god. I think the spider are like right after this. I think they're around the 20th spot. 20 to 30. I think the spider generally, the non-Crolo spiders are all in that like 20-ish range with some variation. again, I don't think like Cortopi would have been considered a fighter, but if he made like 9 buildings, you could hide some really powerful fighters in there and corner your enemy and kill them. So in a way, Cortopi like would really help you. But there's things like that I just couldn't confidently put the spider in this discussion. They're just outside of it. I just feel like they have a lot of conditions to their abilities, and in all scenarios, this is a list that considers all combat scenarios. I feel like the spider are a little too specialized. If they were one-on-one in certain situations, they might get compromised, right? So they're just a little too specialized in my opinion, but they're very powerful nonetheless. Hisoka. And this is zombie Hisoka. So we got to think about zombie, post-revival, Mortem Nen. This guy is being amped by rage, by lust, by all of his twisted ass desires. How could I not put Hisoka as an honorable mention? He's a monster. So we know why. He lost to Crolo, but I'm talking about revival Hisoka. And this is the same Hisoka that took on all of those Nen puppets by himself. People think like he got creamed by Crolo. He was taking on hundreds of puppets. Immortal puppets, I might add. He had to behead them to basically prevent them from moving. Like, this is like an outnumbered scenario that no other character went through. This is horde mode. And he was just, he ran out of Nen. But the battle was just, it was so outnumbered, it's ridiculous. So again, one-on-one, Hisoka's very dangerous. Very dangerous. Crolo designed the fight because he didn't just want to walk up to Crolo and go one-on-one with him. No. He designed the fight to compromise Hisoka and his strengths. As flexible as Bungee Gum is, he out-endured Hisoka. He literally caused him to run out of Nen. He knew that Hisoka was so dangerous up close that he would drain him of his Nen with numbers en masse, a wave of opposition. And that's what beat him. So, Hisoka is a monster. We know why. He's one of the most flexible abilities in the verse. Yeah. Crolo. Do I have to say anything else? You want to talk about having an answer to your adversary? Crollo's the number one guy. If he plans for his fight properly, he can put a menu of spells together, abilities, that will counter yours. This guy has the potential to counter his opponent in almost any scenario. But unlike Hisoka, who is sporadic and goes with the flow in the moment, Crolo will plan for his success and is much more methodical. And so, in his depiction, he is usually prepared for a fight. When we saw him fight Zeno and Silva, he was, it wasn't on the back foot, but he definitely wasn't like charging at them with offense. He got the Ben's knife off, but like that was minimal combat display from Crolo. It was minimalistic. He was going to try and use the cloth to capture one of them, but he just couldn't. He had to keep them away. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's funny. Crolo was in a 2v1 situation, and then he went like to a 300-1 against Hisoka. Like, numbers always help. So it's like, one-on-one, Crolo is a monster. He's an absolute monster. He's a Nen master. We know this. We know he's just ridiculous. But he does have conditions, like the spider do, if he gets ambushed without the right skills, for example, in his book, if he might not have the flexibility in certain situations because of A, how his book works, and B, because what if he just doesn't have the right skill in his book? The thing about bungee gum is it's so flexible in like all combat scenarios. You really can't think of one unless there's a zombie horde coming after you and just run out of endurance. But if like Ahsoka had a limited endurance, he would have probably won that fight. But he ran out of net. Like he literally ran out. And so endurance does matter in a battle. And so Crolo will always try to take advantage of the situation and plan to win. And he has the ability to do that, and he's very powerful. But I could imagine scenarios where he gets caught off guard. I can imagine it. That's why he's not top 10 for me. It's just simply due to how Togashi wrote this character. He is godly, and his ability is ridiculous. But I could see a case where his ability doesn't help him enough. Like the just simple fact that he doesn't have the answer to a certain opponent that ambushes him. And he's, in a little bit of trouble. Of course, against a high-level opponent, but still. And then here, now, I thought about this one a little bit. There's number 10 and Silva could have been, like, totally changed. But I feel like on display alone, and I will get to this in a moment, I prefer number 10 slightly to Silva. So I'm putting Silva, I know it sounds crazy. He's like number 11. He's an honorable mention. Because of portrayal and what Togashi wrote. So, here we go. Number 10, Razor. Yes. Now, this might throw some people a little bit off. Razor at number 10. But let's just analyze what this guy can do. All right? Let's start with he's Jing's right-hand man in terms of being a combative Nen user. His other friends, Duan, and they aren't really combat types. And this is a combat list. Razor is Jing's right-hand guy and is a combat specialist and really oversees, in a lot of ways, Greed Island itself and how it works. On the island, he's like the last boss. He's like the main threat for the players of Greed Island. But he's also controlling every use of emission spell on the freaking island. And we saw that with that in mind, he could still split his aura into 8 entities and play a high-stakes game of dodgeball where, like, he was taking on a whole team of highly specialized Nen users. Now, yeah, he specializes in dodgeball, but the point stands. Like, he is able to uphold that level of power while casting emission spells across an island. His emission capacity is ridiculous. It's insane. I think it's one of the best displays of emission in the verse. And when faced with several members of the troop, they turned around and left. Like, they didn't want to fight him. Even all of them together, they're like, you know what, guys? Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Let's not lose one of our members today. Let's like not force that issue. I think this guy has a massive aura reserve, like maybe 60 to 70,000, like Morel. Like, he's in that ballpark. Maybe even he's higher than Morel. He could be. And Morel's a monster. I think Morel is around where the Phantom Troop are. I think he's right in that mix. But Razor, all of the portrayal goes towards him being a beast. And I think on portrayal alone, I have him above Silva. But it's portrayal. Silva could come out, maybe in the next 10 chapters, it's not going to happen, but if there was a portrayed feat from Silva where a dragon like ate a mountain, then I would put Silva here. I would move him back in the, you know what I mean? But we saw a guy controlling an island worth of emission spells and still able to do this. And it's like, I can't not put him here. He's just absurd. So that's why Razor is number 10. Number 9, Zeno. Dragon Dive and the cross-country dragon. You want, again, more examples of immense emission and transmutation. Dragon Dive was depicted as being strong enough to kill a hunter like Knuckle with one of the arrows. All of those arrows could be strong enough to kill a pro hunter. And there were thousands of them. And this was an ability that covered a whole kingdom. And Zeno was not tired. And then again, he cast the cross-country dragon. It required some charge time, but he cast it. And it's like, this old man is a legend for a reason. Because we saw it. And I just don't think you can argue his betrayal and the feat of the Dragon Dive feat itself. And he took on Crolo. You know, it was a different scenario. And I do want to... People say that Crolo's stronger than Zeno. That was a hit mission. So they wanted to try and get his body, right? And they were also fighting indoors. We clearly see the difference here between indoor Zeno and Dragon Dive Zeno. There's a difference here. Dragon Dive Zeno didn't give a fuck about what was below him. This Zeno was trying to get a bounty. The fight was more specialized, right? Am I making sense? Like, so I just, this feat here is just superior to me than, for example, Crollo's hundreds of puppets and all that strategy. This Dragon Dive would have killed all of them. Like, one ability, bam, they're all dead. So, again, I just don't know. And that's just me. So, Zeno is number 9. Number 8 is Jing. From the very little we know about Jing, from the very little that we know he is in Netero's realm as a top 5 Nen user in the world. That reputation has to come from somewhere. Greed Island being one of those things. He's the main protagonist's father. The fact that he can ride dragons on their head and it's like a dragon on top of a dragon. It's like this guy, you talk about loving animals. This guy loves all the mythical, magical creatures in the world. Like, he's that guy. But I can't honestly put him higher because of lack of feats. I need more feats before I can truly, honestly rate this guy higher. And this is on portrayal alone. Now, there's another guy on this list where it's all portrayal, but I just feel like the portrayal speaks for itself. And I'll get to him in a couple selections here. But Jing just has all of the writing emphasis on him as the main character's father. But the verse tells us that he's accomplished, made Greed Island, is a Zodiac, all these accolades, double star hunter, could be a triple star, he's probably too lazy to get the triple star, let's be real. Or maybe the triple star had too much responsibility and he wanted to go explore the world. He might have even said why, and I forget. But this is a caliber of Nen user I just can't wait to see more of. I need to see more of him. I actually want to see Jing's grand adventure. I want to follow Jing. I want to go to the Dark Continent, and I want to follow Jing on the Dark Continent and look for Dome. I want Jing to hunt for Dome. That's my dream. If we were to get to the Dark Continent, if Jing became the main character for a period, I would just be over the moon with that, right? So, number 8. But if the story evolves, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes higher than number 8. It's just like, comfort-wise, this is where I feel like he belongs now. Because Beyond Netero. Oh, man, Beyond Netero, huh? Now, the next two are going to be... The next one is... spoiler alert, I'll just do it now. It's Netero. It's Beyond Netero and Netero. I only put Netero above Beyond because of feats that I've seen with my eyeballs. I can't, like... Even though Netero has said, like, oh yeah, my son might be considered a better hunter than me, it's like, this is a sarcastic old man. This guy was full of jokes. This guy always said sarcastic shit. He didn't care. The point is, the portrayal is that Beyond is at least around Netero's level and could be better. But I need feats before I do that. So... at the date of this video, today, this countdown, Beyond is here. 7. And Netero is 6. Like, just 1 and 1. We all know what Netero can be capable of. This is not for debate here. Now, this is where my list gets into controversial... It's always about Netero because of who I put above him. But I will do my very best to explain why I believe the way I do. I've said it in the past in several videos, but I'm going to make it official today as to why I believe this to be true. So again, I can't wait to see more of Beyond. I think he could have some sort of heavenly strike. Like... he can go into the sky. There's actually this thing, you know this movie Kung Fu Hustle? It's an ability where the guy thrusts a palm from the sky and it leaves a huge imprint in the ground, like a giant crater, palm-sized crater, or a crater-sized palm. I bet that this dude could rain palms from the sky, emitted like flaming palms, and they just like, literally just, you think the Buddha was bad. Well, these things are like bigger than the Guanyin itself, and they're coming down. Like, I need to see what Beyond can do. It'd be so awesome, man. He's portrayed with a lot of the same Buddhist-like qualities that Netero has, with a slight twang of evil or darkness to him. So we saw Netero going into his darkness right at the end of that arc. But let's just do it. Why is Netero here? Yeah. In a combat scenario, Netero solos 99.9% of his opponents. If you're in range of his Bodhisattva, you're dead. If you're 99.9% of his opponents. The characters above this list, that's not true. So again, like the characters below, most of them are going to be squashed or pulverized into pieces because of this guy's sheer reaction speed, attack speed. The fact that it's really his speed, that it's speed combined with his overall destructive capability. That what you blink and you're not even a blink. You're dead before you even blink. You're dead. The Buddha squashes you into the ground, claps you into paste. It's just like against most humans on the verse, like this guy you're instantly dead. That's why he wins. That's why he wins in those scenarios. That's why he was considered the monster that he was. So, this is why Netero is so godly. But, now we get into the controversy. I don't think Netero beats the Royal Guard. I'm going to go through my list here, and I'm going to start with Yuppie. Now, the Royal Guard are the next three positions, but I want to talk about why. They're definitely interchangeable in a lot of ways, but let's start with the sheer facts that we know about Yuppie. Aura reading, off the charts. We have, this character was used as a benchmark to show how far the guard were from the extermination team. That's the point. Like, he's a benchmark character. Like, oh my god, this guy could have 700,000 aura. This guy could have 1,000,000 aura. Like, my master's considered a godly reserve of Nen, and he has 70,000. This guy, like, the amount of time that they needed for APR to work, the numbers game, it was still like just about halfway done per Knuckles' evaluation. So, with that said, this monstrosity has more Nen than any human in the verse. And thus, you have to assume that the guard all have similar Nen reserves. It just, why wouldn't you write that? That makes sense. Narratively, these are all specifically bred characters. They're bred to protect the king, so why wouldn't they all have similar aura capacity? That makes, like, they have to. They have to have similar aura. So these characters just have more aura, a bit more endurance and aura. And that ultimately is why they win against more characters on this list. Godspeed Killua did 0 damage to Yuppie. Yuppie was getting excited, like, oh, this guy can move faster than I can react. This is what's going on. And this is so exciting. He wasn't getting hurt by it. Pito took that blast from Netero, 0 damage. That was a full emission from his Buddha. No damage. A tail swipe from Meruem is more powerful than that emission blast. Just put that in your mind for a second. And the unkillable one. This character, Poof, cannot be killed. Realistically. Like, yes, you can kill him, but the condition is you gotta find a bumblebee out in the open and kill it. A bumblebee. There are thousands. They can become particles. They'll know where you are at every moment, and he'll materialize and kill you. His full capacity aura clone will stomp most of the verse. And it can materialize instantaneously. Let alone full power Poof. Like, the point is, we didn't see full power Poof really fight. This, okay, look, people use this as a feat that Poof is not strong enough. The point is, guys, he didn't have to kill him. In fact, this indicates to me that he wanted to keep him alive, possibly for his experiments, or to feed Meruem. Because Poof was all about loyalty to the king, was all about it. So, a part of me is saying he got rid of the threat and left the prize alive, because the prize without the pipe is really no threat at all. He could be a valuable source of information, intel. People, you gotta, like, this is the thinker of the group. So he's thinking, like, I could use this guy. He's no longer a threat without this pipe. Now I can use him. That narratively makes sense to me. But back to Yuppie. Why do I put him like here and not number 4 or number 3? It's because he's slow. Yes, he's fast. He has attacks, right? And he can literally grow these arms and hit anything rapid speed. But he is somewhat slow. A ranged attack, APR, to me, Yuppie is slightly more open to being ambushed than the other two are. He also did not show, yes, he had explosive aura, but he didn't show a lot of sensory ability. He's more about like, he had to grow these eyes to have a sensory advantage, right? Like he's literally growing eyes, but it's not like he's using his aura to sense what's around him. And that is where I go, like, he's just absurdly stupid and strong, but he's fairly straightforward. He's all power and just dominance, raw, sheer physical might, but he's not really like assessing the area with his Nen and like getting the head start on somebody. And that's the only reason. That's it. That's the only reason. And you might also say maybe it's like his intelligence. He's still an intelligent guy, but I'd say of the 3, he's probably the least intelligent overall, but he's not stupid. It's just he's not thinking necessarily as ahead, perhaps, as, I don't want to say iron-headed, but he's in the moment. He's not really calculating up ahead, if you understand what I'm saying as much. So that's how I look at Yuppie. He's a monster. We know what he did. I mean, no damage from a Godspeed Killua rush, nothing. And the fact that he was evaluated having probably 10, if not more times more aura than Morel, meaning that the guard all have like this astronomical amount of Nen. Now, I'm going to continue on with Poof. People shafted. This guy gets so shafted in the list. People just don't like this character. But he hypnotized a whole nation of people. That's a lot of Nen to spread that shit across millions of people. And he wasn't fazed by it. I know his Nen is disgusting because the particles, and after the life essence transfer, he still had the ability to emit and create a clone across a country. And that clone almost caught Godspeed Killua. So I know this creature, this thing right here, this paper mache clone of Poof, this thing is like a husk of the original, and it almost caught Godspeed Killua off guard. But the thing is, like, that's not even close to what Poof is. And he's not necessarily a combatant because he's a thinker. His abilities were designed to scan and understand the area, knowing where the king was, knowing where all of his enemies were, knowing everything. And the point is, that fact alone means that he prefers the intelligent angle. He prefers the analysis, but he's still an ant. So his ant physiology is stronger than any human hunter, just by default. He withstood an attack from Meruem's tail, so we know that physically, he still has the physicality to back up that claim that he's a monster physically. But he is mentally more suited for mental warfare and intelligence gathering. He would be God tier in the Succession War. Imagine all the Poof clones all throughout the ship. He would be unstoppable in some sort of intelligence war. But that doesn't mean he's not a good combatant. And if you think about it, he has tools in his arsenal, completely zombify you with his scales. He can rematerialize and drain you of your endurance with unlimited waves of clones that just don't die. And then he can materialize. He caught Morel. Morel was tired. We got to admit that. But he caught Morel completely off guard and took his pipe away. I just don't think people give him enough credit for his combat prowess. So he's here. And we know why. I'm tired of the slander. Now, why is Pito here? Betrayal. This was the first Royal Guard. This was Gon's enemy. This was the first Royal Guard to really set the arc. And even though Pito was not the main antagonist of the arc, she was the main character's main antagonist. Therefore, she has more emphasis on her than the other two guard. And some people would say they. I'm calling it her. I think there's enough proof that you can call this character her, so I'm just going to say that. Why is Pito here? Because what I mentioned before, she has a very dangerous mixture of intelligence and power. It takes literal gods to beat a character like this. But generally speaking, she has the ability to probe a mind from birth just by reading a book about a human brain. She performed freaking brain surgery on a person brand new. Why are we talking? What's going on here? And she then learned an ability in minutes. She's like, I'm just going to make this thing. And while you could argue the efficiency of her abilities, all the guard were brand new. And their use of Nen was very rough. But their mass amounts of power and desires to protect the king created some very dangerous things. Her Trepshikora burst was beaten by Netero. It was matched by Godspeed Killua, and it was beaten by Adult Gon. Otherwise, she's speed blitzing everybody else on this list. And that's, I think that's a fair assessment to make. She'll just literally dash you and kill you. Kind of like how Netero is fast enough to just, crush an opponent. Pito isn't far off from that speed. It takes a Netero to do that, right? But the difference is Pito is dealing lethal damage without question. She cut through Adult Gon's arm. We know it was distracted, but it's the physicality point that I'm trying to make here. This is an ant with pinpoint precision that can jump across a forest in mere seconds and has perception both enhanced from her cat physiology and her Nen capacity to cover 2 kilometers plus, meaning that she can pounce on your ass from 2 kilometers away and you're dead. Why we got to use the kite thing. She can literally close the gap on you in seconds from in a different state. She'll show up going at the speed of sound and just fuck you up. So the point is, this character is massively dangerous, as we know. But I think it's fairly straightforward why she is. Now, she has a healing ability. And you got to understand, in combat, people cage fight, they can't leave. They're going to fight to the death, one-on-one, and until they're dead. But a realistic fight would be I'm going to fight you, injure you. Maybe I'll go away and heal for a while. And again, she can pounce away, kilometers away from you. None of these humans are keeping up with her. Even Silva's dragon is going to take a while to catch up with her. She's going to pounce kilometers away from you, cross a country in minutes. And she can go heal herself. And then she can find you again. But the point is, portrayal puts her as the antagonist of Gon. This was newly born. And it's also estimated that Kite used Nen with a condition here, because this is not normal. Like, Kite cut some trees down before, but this ain't that, man. There's a really cool video, actually, someone did of this fight where Kite becomes a one-winged angel. And, like, is throwing Pito around, and she's like, this is, like, really fun. How do you do this? Like, she's not she's not getting injured. She has some scuff, like some scrapes on her face. Oh, look. She's not injured. She's not even close to injured. She's a little scuff. And this is basically Nenless Pito. She awoke her nodes, but she doesn't have any Nen, like, proficiency or knowledge. This is just like an ant having fun with her prey. And that's what happened here. So, like, I wish, damn it, Togashi, I wanted to see this fight. If you guys don't know that video, actually, why don't I go look for it? Was it which one was it? Is it even around? What? No. No. Is this it? Is this it? Damn it, there was something out there a while back. It was a fan project, and it was really well done. I don't want to take up too much time here, but I don't know where the hell it is. Oh my god, forget it. Well, anyhow. But it's cool. Like, it showed Kite becoming the angel, and they were, blowing up all these trees and stuff and causing chaos. And then, like, Pito just like, all right, I've had fun, broke his leg and, like, slammed it to the ground. I'm like, oh my god. But the point is, the proof is here that no. No. I'd put Kite and Morel and the spider all in, like, a similar territory. So, nothing. This is no Nen skill. This is like a Nen condition activation, most likely, given what happened. And no. Now, number 2. Adult Gon. Adult Gon is just... This character, if Gon had trained his whole life and reached this level, he would have been an absolute monster. But Togashi, what he did, and he's so damn good at doing this, he takes away, he brings you payoff at a tremendous price. He hurts his characters to bring you something really incredible. This character was in a ballpark of Meruem. And we saw what that does. That, again, why did Pito get ragdolled? Because this is a Meruem with proficient Nen mastery. That's why Pito got fucked up. It wasn't just because he was stronger. It's because he was masterfully gifted at controlling and fighting with his Nen. That kick was a full enhanced it was just a full fucking shot. Completely broke all of her ribs and all of her organs. It's just like, and this conditioned state, this is decades of mastery and training every single day, nonstop, pulling a Netero as like a 30 to 40-year-old. This is like a 40-year-old Gon right here who, like, trained every day from 12 to 40. Yeah, he awoke a Nen. And it's Nen that is being activated upon a condition. amped like, oh my gosh. So the point is, Adult Gon's a freaking monster for 2 minutes. And that's Togashi's writing style. Ultimate power for the ultimate sacrifice. But we saw it happen, and it's truly terrifying. A human can reach this level, but it would take a 1 in a bazillion talent, training every day, religiously, to do this. And we know, like, he one-shots Pito. The Jajankens were fully charged. Sends Pito through the forest. She survives, but she's like crippled, right? That Jajanken is stronger than anything else from portrayal that I'm seeing here. Like, I see stuff, I see power, but that Jajanken, the fully charged one when she's falling, that thing, stronger than anything above Gon here. By a significant portion as well. By a significant margin. And number one, it's no surprise, our friend the king. What is there to say about this freaking god? We know why he died. He died to sabotage, and he died to honor, and he died to, having to be an ant but wanting to be a human. Meruem is just unbelievable. The intellect of this character is godly. The physical, all of Netero's nen scraped him. All of his nen, 0 hand. All of this was his life essence, everything. He lost his lifespan because of this ability, and it scraped him. Look, do you call that, by the way, do you call this like critical damage? He's not even physically harmed. I'm tired of the debate that Netero's even in a comparison to him. This is why I have to put my foot down here and why the guard are above Netero. I'm tired of the slant. This is everything Netero can do. That's what it did to him. So these characters are above Netero. Period. Like, period, point blank. I'm done with the conversation. It's how Togashi writes too. That it wasn't about the godly Buddha, super duper laser beam Nen. It was the bomb and humans' malice. Humanity's malice was more powerful than the Buddha itself. This is Togashi's writing style. So thematically, it makes sense that these demons are above Netero because thematically, the writing backs that up. It's not just a portrayal, even though that too is showing minimal. He has some rips in his skin. See that? Like his shell. This isn't, he's not, it's similar to this, right? Like it's not, they're not incapacitated from their opponent. These are ultimate states, ultimate techniques. These ants are on a different level of durability here. And yes, there are some abilities in the verse, like manipulation, that could fuck them up, but you have to pierce them first in a lot of cases and get to them. So in raw combat, no, man. Oh, and by the way, I would like to add, I would put Illumi almost here as well. I'm going to actually put him in like this like area. I think portrayal, he's like first of all, we have him as a Hisoka like accomplice in a way, but like I feel like there are periods where this guy could just be fucking like I think in the current arc he's number one. He, if he takes control of like bro, he could control all of the mobs under his rule. Like he is a god in the current arc, but I do think he's 20-ish, 15, like he's in that mix totally. I think he is, but I had to add that at the end. I forgot to put him there earlier. I realized he wasn't there, but I think this is fair to say. We all agree. Meruem is number one. The damage Netro did to him with all of his life essence and capacity didn't really faze him at all. No physical damage, and so that's my list. There we go. You got the honorables and everything. But again, like, this is all portrayal. I think with time, with more feats. So Togashi doesn't love to show us feats all that often. It's like very special occasions where he'll pull out, oh, the big bad feat, you know, oh my god. But I think this is a fairly accurate list from my interpretation of what the series shows us. And look, I hope you enjoyed. This is a place to discuss what you think the best characters, combat-wise, are in the verse. And until next time, guys.